cranking along here. Oh, I got a nice echo. I hear that. That's interesting. Wait until he clears that. Okay. All right. The echo's gone. That's good. Good evening. Welcome to the first HCRA meeting, live meeting in the last 2.5 years, post-COVID, first one. Good to see everybody. It's good to see everybody's talking to everybody. It's good to be out, isn't it? I'd like to ask everybody to turn off their phone ringers, please. And I'd also like to ask everybody to not connect to the public Wi-Fi here in the hospital so that we can use it for the Zoom for our guests. So if you don't know, August 31st ended the HCRA's fiscal year, and September 1st starts a new year. And John and George, stand up, John and George. Our membership director and our treasurer are back there taking the dues. Dues are $15 a year. The years go by pretty quick. If you want to make it easy on yourself, just pay for a couple of years. I pay 2 or 3 years at a time. It makes it easier. You don't have to worry about it for a while. But you can pay your dues. And we have, if you pay your dues by October 31st, you have a chance to win a $150 DX Engineering gift card. So there's a little incentive for paying first and paying on time and not stringing it out. So make sure you see John and George there. They've got change and they can set you up. And of course, if you don't want change, we're always willing to take a little $5 donation for the club. If you haven't heard yet, we're doing a booth at the Big E. It's a 21-month project coming to an end a week from today. We've got a dozen clubs from the New England and Eastern New York and New Jersey coming in. We got 110 different hams from the same area. We're going to be manning the booth from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be really interesting. We're trying to present modern ham radio to the public. And the goal is to get the public to sign up for more information and sign up for ham classes and bring more ham radio people into New England, into the area, which will grow all the clubs and grow ham radio in New England and probably grow the ARL a bit too. Last year, in COVID times at the Big E, they had nearly 1.5 million people. They're expecting a lot more this year. And so if we get, 1/4 of 1% of that, we could have 1,000+ people signing up, and which could bring at the very least a couple hundred new hams into the area, which would be pretty awesome if it all works out well. So we're still looking for volunteers. I've got 4 days that need volunteers, and the rest are filled in. There is an HCRA day, and we're already fully staffed, and got a few other days. We're still looking for people. Each session is 6 hours, and we're looking for people right now from between 3:30 in the afternoon and 10 p.m. And 3:30 to 4 is a transition period between the first group and the second group, and then we go from there. It should be lots of excitement. The booth is going to be modern. It's an input of the work of everybody across New England, and we're doing an AIRS contact. From the booth, actually, we're going to be on the stage where the music venue is. They're expecting 10 to 20,000 people to be on the live stream via YouTube, and we're expecting anywhere from a couple hundred to 5,000 people in the venue. We have a professional live streaming crew that is working with us. The president of the ARL is going to be giving a talk right before the contact, as is the president of the Big E. And the Big E is seriously excited about this. They're printing up 250,000 flyers that they're going to be handing out in 4 days before the contact happens. There's going to be lots of publicity too, so watch for the official space chat, and that's the AIRS contact that's going to happen. The kids that are going to be asking the questions, the astronauts, are from New England SciTech. It's a homeschooled sort of a homeschooled STEM school in Natick, Mass, and there's kids from all over New England that are part of it, and it should be really cool. It's the first time that homeschool kids got a chance to talk to through the space station, and we've been doing this, working with to get the AIRS contact working for 5 months, and it usually takes 1 to 2 years to put it together. So It's all coming down, and it's probably going to happen. NASA hasn't told us when yet, but we accept it's going to be between the 26th and 29th, and from mid-morning to early afternoon. That's all we know. Sometime, probably a week from now to maybe next month, the Monday after, we'll know what the date is, and you'll start seeing the Biggie publicity machine will start broadcasting it everywhere. One of the nice things about the Space Chat Day is hams and 3 members of their family can get in for free. They show a copy of their license. So you can get into the Biggie for free then. So if you need more information, you can contact myself, WNAST@ARL.net, or you can go to NEDIV.ARL.org, and there's lots of information there, including a sign-up, and I have a sign-up sheet too. So that's something big, and it should be exciting between the Biggie and Aries. Paul, do you want to announce your outgoing QSL Bureau?
Just a quick one. I'm targeting the 15th of September or thereabouts to try and get the next batch of outgoing DX cards. If you've got any QSL cards you want to send out through the Bureau, get in touch with me. All the information's on the website, and we'll arrange to get together and get them from you. And like I said, around the 15th or so is my target date, give or take a day or two to send the next batch out. Some people have already given me theirs, and I expect to get some more. So just get in touch and we'll figure out.
And you need to be an ARL member.
You need to be an HCRA and an ARRL member. That's correct.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's see here. Are there any other announcements or anything? I don't see anybody from Franklin County here, so I don't know what's going on with them this week. I've lost track. We've got coming in mid to late October, we're going to be putting the Fox boxes out again once the Biggie has ended. The Fox boxes will be back out there again, and we're hoping to get people interested in the Fox hunting again. Let's see here. Anybody else have any other comments or questions or anything? Oh, the 10-meter net has started. Is it every night? Every Monday. Okay, every Monday at 7 p.m. The 10-meter net at 28,375 is happening. Gary, KC1JZR is net control. Everybody can join. Technicians have access to that section of 10 meters, so you don't have to be a general or higher. So come in, join us if you've got HF gear for 10 meters, sideband, 10-meter sideband. And since we haven't had a live meeting in a while, I'd like the board to please stand up. Okay, so these are your new board members and some old board members, starting with our new VP, which is Easy, W1AEZ. We got Najah, AB1ZA, and Ken, KD1KU, who does zero beat, which he's been doing an amazing job. We've got Gary, A1UE, who's our program director, and Paul, NF1G, who's our secretary, and Bob, W1OJN, who's at large, and John, K1VOI, who's part of membership. If you want to pay your dues or have a question about your dues, you want to see John. And George, KC1V, just rejoined the board. He's our treasurer. He was on the board 10 or 15 years ago as secretary. Anyways, that's your board for until June, or hopefully until June. We originally had elected somebody else for VP, that was Bill W5JAZ, and about a week after he was elected, he was offered a job down in Dallas, Texas, and took the job, and 3 weeks later moved. So we went searching around, and thankfully Easy joined us, and I think he's going to be an even better VP than Bill would have been. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Gary, our program director, who can tell us about our guest speaker.
All right, great. So we're so fortunate to have you here to tell us your story. And also, for those, and we really appreciate how much DX engineering has done for the Hampden community. It seems whenever there's an event or whenever some manufacturer or or a company needs to step up, you guys are always there. I think most of the people here are familiar with DX engineering, but before you get into your story, which is pretty fascinating, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the company and you know, how things are going in this particular time?
Well, thanks so much for having me here this evening.
Okay, now we gotta get the audio here. There. Yeah, well, I wanna make sure that Tim can speak.
Yeah. I don't know why that's not audio. Audio's all the way up.
Okay, and Tim isn't muted, so.
No.
All right, do you hear me okay?
Well, we don't hear him. I don't know.
Tim, do you know sign language?
Anybody good at reading lips?
You're gonna have to, put it out in Morse code.
Where? No, that's if I wanted to mute him.
You're gonna have to hold up cue cards. Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. I don't know. It works all the rest of the time.
Let me try this. Let me unmute this.
And see if we have any better luck.
Right now, Tim. No?
We hear you, Larry.
Yeah, he didn't talk.
Try it again, Tim.
Hello, K3LR.
Here we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Oh, we just lost him.
But we don't hear
Well, I think it was.
Shut off the microphone.
All right, well, maybe he's coming through there. Can you try it again?
Try it again, Tim.
Hello from K3LR.
Okay, so let's put the mic over here. And we'll do it this way. K3LR.
Hello from K3LR.
There we go.
Okay.
Really?
So thanks very,
We got enough solution here. It's gonna make him a little bit louder.
do you want me to go ahead or should I stop?
Yeah, well, what we're gonna do here, it's all man. We're gonna see if we can create some feedback. Well, I think we gotta do here. Yes.
Like AV back in school.
Yeah. It's always the AV people, right? And then we go. Settings. Well, we're trying. You want to open settings. Aha. It's a little slow. I would say. We're doing something, we just gotta get the Bluetooth here.
Yeah. All right. The bet. We need to bet. All right, Jim, give it a shot.
All right, do you hear me okay?
Well, I'm still hearing you through the speaker here. I hear you okay. All right. And let me, I know what we need to do. Probably got it. Because we just connected there. Well, I think this is the way it's gonna have to be here. So Tim, let's just do it this way. Yeah. Because I think I need to shut this Zoom and reload it to get some lights. Like that. Doesn't find it now. All right. Got my three. I got a table. Spin that out. There's a regular three-way mic table, you know, with a three-way prong on here. No, I don't. This, you know, when we go to the balance, okay, this is my way. Got it. Well, excuse us while we do something here. Hold that.
All right, Tim, it's the first time we've met live and first time we've been back in this room in 2.5 years, so we're trying to deal with that.
Yeah, I got, here's what I got. You can put that on. Get the right mic. Well, it's going to be. Is that loud enough for you? Okay, put it down. All right, Tim. If this doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
I'm gonna string up Gary.
All right, so we need to shut that one off here.
My audio's off.
Because we're, is that on? Got that here. All right. So Tim, why don't you give it a shot? Can you hear us?
Okay, do you hear me okay?
Yeah. About DX engineering, if you have any time left.
All right, so do you want the DX engineering on the front end or the back end?
You are the,
You're the
it's up
guest.
to you, and we know we use a portion of your time, so
Okay,
however you'd like to do it.
okay. And thanks very much for the kind invitation to speak to everybody this evening. I'll tell you just a little bit about DX engineering. We have been in Ohio since for about 22 years now. And the company was first formed out in Oregon and was a very small antenna clamp company, and moved to Ohio. And we have been working hard on expanding DX engineering ever since. I've been with the company 9 years. We are unique in the fact that not only do we sell all of the major products for amateur radio, over 160 different brand names, but we also manufacture over 1,000 different items that are proprietary to DX engineering. And many of them you cannot buy anywhere else in the world. They are very specific products, very high quality products, and we're very proud of them. And we do have the largest footprint at the Dayton Hamvention. And hopefully, if you come to Hamvention next year, you can stop by and see us. Our employees are scattered throughout the country. If you call into our sales technical lines, you might talk to somebody in Ohio or in Texas or in Nevada. And we're very proud of our association with Summit Racing Equipment. And so that is the brief story on DX engineering. And now I will go into my slide deck, and we will talk about the station that I'm sitting here
Gary,
in.
you have to give them a share.
I
Just
can
good.
share, yeah.
Great.
Okay, let me know if you see my slides okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about K3LR. Multi contesting is what we focus on here. And what multi means is multiple transmitters with multiple operators. And we've been doing this since 1992 here. I was licensed 20 years before that in 1972. And this is actually a photo from 1973. I had just passed my general test, and you see the CW key there. CW is really my first language. I operate CW every day, and it has been with me for over 50 years now as my preferred mode. And but I enjoy all the modes in amateur radio. K3LR is located just northwest of Pittsburgh, southeast of Cleveland, near Erie, and also near Akron, Ohio. You can see a lot of really cool videos and more photos on the website, k3lr.com. So after the presentation, you might want to go check that out. If you're traveling on Interstate 80, the 13 towers are very visible, 1 mile off of the Ohio border and just on the south side of Interstate 80. And the real secret to success here at K3LR is the tremendous drop off towards Europe and Japan, where in DX contests, these two areas make up about 80% of the QSOs that we will make, but almost 250 feet of drop off very quickly down to this riverbed. And that's really the secret. It makes this QTH work. As I said, there are 13 towers. There were over 50 different antennas here. This is the 160 meter antenna, and we'll take a look at that in depth here in a minute. There are 2 4 squares. Here's 1, here's 2 for 80 meters, and they are broadside on Europe and in phase to get the maximum amount of gain towards Europe. And then the tall 40 meter tower, the house here, and then a 15 meter tower that has a 4 high stack, 10 meters has a 4 high stack, and then the 4 high stack for 20 meters, and also some other bands. There are 11 operating positions here at K3LR. So each one of the operating positions has their own antenna system. There are 2 on every band, 2 on 80, 2 on 40, 2 on 20, 2 on 15, 2 on 10, and then 1 on 160 meters. The 40 meter tower has got 3 full-size 4-element Yagis on it. Each one of these Yagis weighs 410 pounds. The reflectors are 75 feet long, very large antennas, and all the antennas that are mounted on the sides of the tower are on ring rotators that allow rotation of these antennas around the face of the tower, and using Philly strand guy wire with the Pyrod towers. And on top of the mast here is a very large 10 meter Yagi. And sometimes that's the only Yagi that we can get some of the DX on 10 meters. However, with the sunspots getting better, we expect really great things out of 10 meters. Another shot of the 40-meter tower. And then to give you a little bit of, these antennas are huge, the 40-meter Yagis, and 3 of them stacked up. It's the largest 40-meter antenna array in the world. And also antennas on 10 meters here on the 40-meter tower for the second station on 10. And then you can see some of the 4 square towers here for 80 meters in the background. And also on this tower is a horizontal Waller flag, and these are rectangles of wires here supported by fiberglass elements. So this is one rectangle, this is the second rectangle, and this is a directive receive antenna for 160 meters. Sometimes it's the best receive antenna, and it is too on a ring rotator that allows us to move it. Looking up the busy 40-meter tower, lots of antennas doing lots of things here. And the 20-meter tower has 4 of these 6-element Yagis on it. And then also on top of the mast is a dipole for 80 meters that we use on the second station for 80 meters. And here's 2 more of those 6-element Yagis on 20 meters. And also on the 20-meter tower for the second station on 40 meters are 2 2-element Moxons, and that's what you see, these T elements. These are shortened to about 46 feet, and the T loading elements do the electrical loading, but mechanically they're a little bit shorter, but these work very well for the second station on 40 meters, and then lots of antennas on the 20-meter tower as well. And for 10 meters, these are 8-element Yagis on 50-foot booms, and there are 4 of them there. And then the 15-meter run stack, 7-element Yagis, 4 of them, 160 over 120 over 80 over 40. And then on top of this is a 10-element 6-meter Yagi, primarily used for hunting noise. It's got a very sharp pattern, so it works very well for that. And we also do operate some sporadic E in June and July with this Yagi as well. Back in 2018, unfortunately, one of the guy anchors was hit by a drunk driver on the 20-meter tower, so we had to replace all the antennas and the entire tower. You can see the new tower is this a tower here that looks new, and the old tower is here, and we are constructing the new tower. And a 100-ton crane is our favorite tool to do tower construction and also for putting Yagis up. You can see here, this is the first 100 feet of the tower, and the painting for the FAA and Philly strand guy wires, along with the ring rotators that will get the Yagis later on in the installation. This is the top of the 20-meter tower using the DX Engineering TB400 3-inch thrust bearing. You can see this tower is very strong, made by Pyrod, solid legs, solid steel tower, so very strong, 24-inch face. And this is 2 out of the 4 6-element 20-meter Yagis. Notice the first director, these are the reflectors back here. This is the driven element. The first director is very close to the driven element. This is known as an optimized wideband array, which was invented by Dr. Jim Breakall at Penn State University. And by putting that director very close to the driven element, that pushes the feed point impedance to 50 ohms, and it stays there across the entire band. So even though there's 350 kilohertz to 20 meters, the SWR never gets above 1.2 to 1. And here's the top 20-meter beam going into place using the crane. And again, here's that first director very close to the driven element, and antenna going up the tower, and the tower crew receiving the 6-element 20-meter Yagi. These steps allow us to climb the mast to get up to the 80-meter dipole should there be any need for maintenance up there. We were using FaceTime with the tower crew on top of the tower, and we were able to take a look at the SWR curve remotely. And back to the 40-meter Yagis, This is the driven element of the 40-meter Yagi. Actually, there are 3 of these Yagis, and you can see that's fed just like a dipole. The shield goes over here, and the driven or the center conductor goes over here. That's signified by right on red. All of the center conductors at K3LR are on the right-hand side when you're on the tower. And here's the first director, very close to the driven element. You can see Interstate 80 in the background here. This is a very large antenna with the 75-foot long reflector, 50-foot boom weighing 410 pounds. And there are 3 of them up on this tower. And back in 2019, we actually upgraded these beams. And here is the top 4-element 40-meter beam going into place again with that 100-ton crane. I'm a big fan of the geochrons. We have 2 of the electronic geochrons that are on big screen HD TVs. And then we also have 2 of the older analog geochrons here as well. I like to keep losses as low as possible. So for 10 meters and 15 meters, we use 1 5/8 heliacs going to those arrays. The 160-meter antenna, the base of this is a 120-foot tower, Pyrod tower, that is base insulated. And then around the tower are 4 T-wires that are used as directors. If you float all of these, don't connect them to anything. They're not in the picture, and this is an omnidirectional radiator. By taking this yellow element over here and grounding it, it becomes a director. The driven element is the tower, and then we put a small inductor in series with this T element, and that gives us the, and these are made out of wires, and that gives us a reflector. So you have a reflector, a driven element, and a director, and then the 2 blue elements are floating. So that's a 3-element vertical parasitic Yagi with 5.5 dB of gain and 32 dB of front to back. And by using relays at the bottom box here of the T-wires, this can be rotated in 4 different directions very quickly. And this is the base of the 160-meter driven element on a broadcast style ceramic insulator, also fed with 1 5/8 because it's so far away from the house, and then 300 radials underneath that comprise the radial system here. And of course, all of the parasitic wires have 120 radials under each one of them. And these are the radial systems under the 8 80-meter verticals. There's 2 4-squares, so that's 8 verticals. And broadcast style radial systems, the center 4 towers of the 2 4-squares. And you can see the grounding and bonding. 2 years ago, we decided to replace the steel towers with aluminum towers. They are 60 feet long, and all of the sections are welded together. So it's one continuous piece. And then at the top of the tower, we use a 2-inch piece of aluminum tubing to do the final tuning, to bring it into resonance. And you can see here, beautiful looking, all of the joints welded together. So no problem with resistance between the sections, and then also welded to the bottom base plate. And DX Engineering custom insulators for the base insulators. And this is one of the 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4 towers. The back tower is the 160-meter tower. And again, using the JLG lift to fine tune each one of the verticals to perfectly resonance at the exact same frequency. So they all work together in a phased array. Comtech Systems, which is by DX Engineering, is the hybrid coupler. This allows us to rotate electronically these verticals in 4 different directions. And we also have a 4-square on 20 meters and a 4-square on 15 meters. And for listening, for receiving on the low bands on 80 and 160 meters, we use the high Z 8-circle array. These are 23-foot verticals. There's 8 of them, and it's 113-foot diagonal spacing. And all the phasing is done in this control box. You can see 2 of the verticals here, 23 feet with 2 ground rods, another 23-foot vertical with 2 ground rods. And inside is all the combining equipment and delay lines that it takes to make this go. It will rotate electronically in 8 different directions. Here I am with my friend W3YQ. We've known each other for 50 years, and we do a lot of antenna work together, and also wiring up all the chokes that it takes to make this array really perform very well. And the bottom of the 23-foot vertical, and this is the control box and 2 ground rods here. And inside the control box are the chokes to keep the feed lines so that the shields do not radiate at all, and also a small buffer amplifier. And then we have a 4 square here and an 8 circle. So these are all the buffer amplifiers that it takes to make this work. And inside the choke box is 26 turns of small 75 ohm coax on a number 31 ferrite toroid. This delivers over 10,000 ohms of common mode impedance. The house at K3LR was built in 1865. It has been completely renovated, but it still has its historic look. But everything has been added, like running water and air conditioning and gas, and a world-class amateur radio station. We have our own 50 kilowatt power transformer from the Pennsylvania Power Company. If that fails, we have our own 50 kilowatt Kohler generator. This is an 8-cylinder Chevy engine, natural gas powered. If we lose power, this is online within 7 seconds via an automatic transfer switch. The shack at K3LR, 11 operating positions in a 30 by 30 foot room. Here are the 2 positions for 80 meters. Position number 1, the idea is to call CQ with this one. And then position number 2 is to go find stations that are calling CQ and work them. And you can see each station has its own amplifier. And this is 160 meters back here, and one of the analog geochron clocks. There are 2 inlets for control cables and heliacs for the antennas. Everything is cataloged and noted in a notebook, so we know what's going where. And then we also have 13 8-foot ground rods in the floor right underneath the radios. And operators having a good time at K3LR. K1DG from New Hampshire, very accomplished CW and phone operator. Now they're operating SSB with the Heil boom mics on the Bose headsets. And you can see this is the run operator who is responsible for calling CQ, and this is the search and pounce operator responsible for tuning the band and finding other stations to work. And here's the 10-meter second station with the 4 rotators for the 4 antennas that he has. And here's his antenna switch box, his single band amplifier, etc. And we talked about that 3-high stack on 40 meters. And here's the control box for it. Right now, the operator has selected to feed 1/3 of the power into each one of the antennas. Or he can just feed the top 2 or the bottom 2 or the high-low. Or you can feed any individual Yagi as well. All of the matching for this is done on the tower. And these control boxes control those tower-mounted switches. And here's the one for 15 run. The operators have to work together because only one of these stations on 15 meters can transmit. And so they have to make sure that the other guy is not going to be interrupted. There is a lockout box to make sure that only one transmitter on a band is on the air at a time. And here's that box on 15 meters, the 4-high stack that we talked about. They're currently feeding the bottom 3 antennas known as bot 3, and they're not feeding the top antenna at all. And they also have a heads up display so they know exactly which antennas are online. And we had to replace the SO239s in my favorite watt meter, the Drake W4, because they, after 50 years of use, they were a little old. And the rotor control stack for 40 meters 1, 2, 3, the 3 high stack, and size does matter. This antenna works exceedingly well. And we have single band amplifiers here. These are my designs. It's a single 8877. It runs 1500 watts output, no problem, and no band switch. So each one of the amplifiers is dedicated to a band. So it makes it very easy to make these amplifiers. 4,000 volt power supply is all it takes to make 1500 watts with an 8877. This is the 20-meter run station, the 4 high rotor stack here, single band amplifier, and IC 7850 and an IC 7851. All of the radios and the remaining slots are IC 7851s as well. Each operator is responsible for taking care of their logging duties, and second station on 20 meters with their amplifier and the rotor control boxes as well. 10-meter station, the 2 stations on 10 meters here, and then 160 meters with lots of receiving antennas. And I do the 160-meter CW in the CW DX contests. 160 CW is my favorite band and mode. And then John, N2NC, takes care of things on the SSB contests for 160 meters. And the horizontal Waller flag controller, as well as the DX Engineering noise canceling controller that we use to phase 2 of the receive antennas together to get a sharper pattern, but a very powerful tool, the DX Engineering noise canceling controller. Bose QC15 headsets, they're active noise canceling, very important when you're doing multi-multi using the ICOM 7851s, very reliable, very high performance radios. And my good friend Al, N5UM on 75 meters. Al taking a little break at 4 a.m., little nap. But here are the new computers at K3LR. These are the Intel Nooks, 4 inches by 4 inches by 1.5 inches thick, full windows, and solid state hard drive, run on 13.8 volts and RFI quiet, but very small. And that just freed up a ton of space for other things when we took those big desktops away. To share the 2 4-squares on 80 meters, we have the 80-meter XL Twin Turbo +2 that allows seamless switching between the 2 stations. Harmonic filters to beat down all the interference from the stations. Very important to have these harmonic filters. When operators aren't operating, they are relaxing at the DX barn. And this is an old sign from DX Gas back in the 60s. And we turn on the sign for every contest. And inside the DX barn are full kitchen facilities, restrooms, showers, and sleeping for 8 upstairs, along with my 100,000 QSL cards that need sorting. And nice, very relaxing area for the operators to sleep. And operators having fun. They're on 20 meters. This is the run station. And this is the second station on 20 meters. And here they are on phone, same 20-meter run and 20-meter mult station. And 20-meter operator catching some much needed Z's in the middle of the night. You can see the geochron. It's dark in Western Pennsylvania, so it's okay to sleep. And the DX Engineering foot switches is what we use on SSB. And here's the lockout box, run and mult, to make sure that we only have 1 transmitter on the air at a time. And this tells the second station operator the status of the run station. If the LED is off, then it's okay for the second station to transmit. If the LED is on, that means he's going to be locked out. This is the second station on 20 meters. They have a stack, 150 feet over 100 feet. BIP is both in phase, BOP is both out of phase. And also have control of the 20-meter 4-square. Operators having a good time, and that's what it's all about. But we are in this to win. 48-hour DX contests are very grueling, very tough, and but they do have some time to enjoy it, have some fun. Justin G4TSH from London, England, likes to come and operate CWDX contests at K3LR. So this is the whole room. Almost every one of the positions is manned. These are the 2 positions for 40 meters. These are the 2 on 20 meters, 2 on 10 meters, 2 on 15 meters, 2 on 80 meters, and then 160 meters is right there. And I'm very proactive on getting youth involved here at K3LR. This is Bryant, KG5HVO, and Violetta, KM4ATT. They're on the 20-meter station here at K3LR. They operated the WPX foam contest here in 2019. BE7DZO and K6JO. There were 6 youth operators. They did all the operating. They made all the QSOs. No parents or nobody over the age of 20 made any contacts. Here they are filling out thank you cards. They did a GoFundMe raised over $5,000 to defray their cost of flying into K3LR. And here's also Tommy, HA8RT from Hungary, and Marty, NN1C from New England. And this was the entire team. Marty had put together a plan that said if they worked 3,700 contacts, they should win the WPX Multi-2 category. At the end of 48 hours, this team of 6 youth operators who had never operated together worked over 6,000 QSOs. And that was good enough for #1 in the US, #1 in North America, and #4 in the world. This is the K2M operation, the 13 colonies with Michael, W3MLJ. Michael has been here 4 years straight, and I'm very proud to host K2M at K3LR. We have visitors that come from all over the world. Here's one from Finland. Here's Riley, K4ZDH, formerly the Enforcement Bureau at the FCC, and Hal, W8HC, inspecting the K3LR QTH, another one of those very nice geochrons here on the big screen TV. We've been doing analytics since the beginning. We keep track of all our QSO totals, country totals. We keep track of how our competition is doing. We are thankful for competition from W3LPL and other NR4M and other multi stations in the US. We do contribute to the reverse beacon network. This used to be the CW skimmer rack, but it has been now replaced with Nook computers. So that replaces all those rack computers with these small Nooks that are even more powerful than those big rack mounted computers were. They are driving these 6 Perseus SDR receivers. There's one for each band, copying CW signals using the CW skimmer software, and then we contribute to the reverse beacon network. Lots of ferrite here at K3LR to keep the noise floor very quiet. We also use all analog power supplies. There are no switching power supplies, no wall warts, no iPhone chargers, nothing here. This is a wall wart free zone. And we make coffee 1 cup at a time using the Flavia system. This is what it takes snack wise to take care of a crew of 13 for a particular weekend of operating. We have our chef, Sal, WM2H from Houston, Texas, and he likes to keep the smoker going. And Sal does a great job. He's a heck of an operator, but he's an even better chef. And we give control of the kitchen over to Sal to take care of feeding 13 of us for 48 hours. The 160 meter operators are responsible for cooking breakfast, and the operators continue to operate while they eat. And we use WindTest as our logging software. This is a French program that we've had since 2006. Works very well, keeps track of our multipliers and QSOs, allows us to actually gab amongst all the operators as well. And can't wait to see scores like this, 10 meters. This was back in the peak about 9 years ago, and 3,242 QSOs on 10, 170 countries. You know, we had almost 13,000 QSOs that year. So there's a lot going on here for 48 hours with these operators. I'm a voracious QSLer. Every DX station gets a QSL card. Anybody who sends me a QSL card via the mail also gets a return QSL card. And I like t-shirts, Team K3LR in CW. And at the end of the contest, we get on 3830 and we compare scores with other multi-operator stations. Sometimes we win a plaque. We're also operating RTTY contests these days. And here's what a crew looks like. ILTHRS, I love this ham radio stuff. And Sal brought his girlfriend along to help with the cooking duties, but this is the kind of crew that it takes to do a DX contest at K3LR. And another crew shot, good looking group of guys from all over the world. K5GN from Houston, B3RA from Toronto, N6AN from Los Angeles, N6TV from San Jose, G4TSH from London, England, K1TO from Florida. So we operators come here, they're the best of the best to operate and have a shot at winning. Real reason we do it, we're best friends, and I've known some of these guys for 50 years. And so it's my complete pleasure to host these operator teams. One of the things that I'm most proud of is during the non-contest weekends, we host tours here at K3LR. We've had clubs drive for 6 hours to come and tour the K3LR campus. And it is a campus now. There's many buildings here that are part of this operation. And this is the University of Pittsburgh Pitt Panther Club with their faculty advisor. They were here recently for a Saturday visit. We talked about ham radio. We talked about college life. We talked about life after college. But 15 to 20 tours every year go on here at K3LR. And I'm very, very proud of that. That is my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
I have a question for Tim.
Here we go. So, Tim, I mean, a huge amount of thought went into the development of the station and the evolution. Can you just tell us about, a little bit more about the beginnings and the thought process that, and the teams, to put things together in order to, it seems like you have all the bases covered, and that doesn't happen overnight. So can you tell us a little bit about the evolution and the thought process that went into it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on this station for 35 years now. So what you're seeing is the cumulative effort of 35 years worth of work. I do have a tower crew that works here typically 3 days a week when we're in the building mode and maintenance mode. As you can imagine, with 13 towers, there's a lot of maintenance, and we have to make sure that we do maintain the station so that we don't have any failures during a contest. But I'm a trained electrical engineer, so I put that to good use in planning antennas and where to put the towers. And so we evolved over the year, got better amplifiers, got better radios. The operators steadily got better and more acquainted with the station. So yeah, I'm an operator in all the contests. I'm either on 160 meters or on 80 meters. And I'm also the host and the chief engineer and the repair guy. So, it's a busy time. We're coming up on contest season now that'll start in October, and very excited about the upcoming season. So that's kind of in a nutshell, the genesis.
Let's see. Sure. Anyone else have some questions for Tim?
What's it all insured for?
Oh, what's it insured for?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. But it is all insured.
When you mentioned that drunk driver hit the guy wire, I just couldn't imagine something like that happening.
I'll tell you, it was the biggest surprise I've ever had. I didn't know that somebody could imagine that the road went, through one of the guy wire anchors. But that's what happened. But luckily, his insurance company took care of every dime.
Wow,
Wow.
it's amazing.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, what's the total footprint of the farm?
So I don't know if you heard it. What is the total footprint of the property in the antenna farm?
Yeah, it's 14 acres.
Oh, wow.
So Tim, I imagine with all the number of contests and things that have gone on, there might be either one event or one curious thing that might have happened that just was out of the ordinary. Anything that you could think of that stands out in your mind as either something weird or interesting or just something other than a drunk driver that you didn't expect?
Well, you know, I guess there's not one thing but there's probably a couple of things. I mean, over 30 years and over 150 different contests and over 150 different operators that have been here. Things are bound to happen, but you know, we've had some really exciting DX QSOs like working China on 75 meters. That's very difficult to do. And we've been able to do it once. We've worked Mongolia on 160 meters. And just this past season, we were able to work several stations in zone 18, which is middle of Siberia on 160 meters. You know, I think that the biggest thrill and the biggest thing was having the youth here and having those 6 faces that just could not believe how you could run DX stations and have a great time with amateur radio. So that's probably been the highlight.
Well, that is great. And just the fact that the encouragement you're giving and having a new generation of operators that can maybe see the future, you know, based upon some of the work that you've been doing. Does anybody have any other thoughts or questions for Tim?
Yeah.
Larry?
How do you finance a complex like that? And also pay anybody for tower work and maintenance, or are they volunteers?
No, I left the volunteer maintenance and tower work several years ago when this thing started really getting big. And so I do have a paid tower crew. And I've been working with them for almost 30 years now. And they're very good at amateur radio installations. In fact, they also do work for hams in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. So, you know, that takes care of the tower work part of it. I spent over 25 years in cellular and wireless before coming to DX Engineering to be CEO there. And and I retired from AT&T. So I did very well through that, through a number of acquisitions and mergers. And I don't have a boat. I don't have a vacation home. I live a pretty modest life, except for this ham radio life. So all of my funding has gone into this station. And so that's how it's financed.
Wow.
That's great. Well, you have to have a dream and to see it fulfilled and to see that you're passing that, you know, this experience on to young people as well as friends that you've maintained over the years is wonderful. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate DX Engineering and all that you're doing as a company for ham radio. And, you know, even though I have several unique antenna products that you make that I couldn't find anywhere else as well. So I want to thank you all, and I want to thank you for coming. And I hope that you have a great day, and hope perhaps we can visit again, either virtually or maybe in person at K3LR.
Well, you're all very welcome, and thank you so much. And to those of you who are DX Engineering customers, thank you so much for your trust and for your business. I appreciate that. My team appreciates it. And we do try to do our very best to help everybody have fun with this great hobby. And if you ever have a problem, you now know the CEO. So you can always email me. And most of the time there are no problems, but every once in a while, you know, FedEx or UPS might do something bad and we have to step in. For those of you who have not tried DX engineering before, give us a shot. I think you'll find that we're friendly, we're helpful. We've got a really smart sales team, and we do really try to bend over backwards to help everybody have fun with this great hobby. So give us a shot, and we'll do our best to take care of you. And again, thanks very much for your kind invitation tonight. This was a lot of fun. And with that, I'm going to say 73, and I'm going to go off to the next meeting. So 73, and have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.